A new wave has formed for Season 2, an epic tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door-to-door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?
Look at all this action as we come on lap 100.
Second. We're going to go around. This could be the big one.
Hey, four wide in Texas. Todd falls back. Bacon, there's another bump. There's another hit. Cox into Miranda. Tate's going to steal one here in Nashville. Are you kidding me?
With the SimRap Market Series playoffs now in full swing, the closest margin we've seen in the points since the start of the season, at a track built for multi-groove racing, we're primed for an instant classic in Miami this evening. Zach Millett still holds the title lead, but only by 5 points following Daniel Wild's surprise victory a week ago. Can someone new tackle Miami tonight? Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Homestead, Florida. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've got Scott Shive alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the No Limit Racing SimRap Market Series. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by SimRap Market, by No Limit Racing, and by all series partners. We take a look first at the Homestead Miami Speedway, built back in 1995, opened in 1995, built in the early 90s. Initially was a replica, a smaller replica of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was changed in the late 90s to take on this oval shape, and later was rebuilt in the corners to take on a more high-banked format. It was initially, once it was changed to an oval, initially quite flat, was really single groove racing through the corners, and later, once the banks were raised up, this racetrack opened up to be raced on every different lane through the corners. Of course, you still want to be next to the wall on the straightaways, but you can go high, you can go middle, you can go low, you can go anywhere you want in the corners, and it makes for some astounding racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Capacity of 43,000. That's been changed in the last few years. Of course, they took out the stands in turn 1. You'll see that change reflected on iRacing soon, as it was announced today that Homestead Miami Speedway was one of many tracks being rebuilt in the iRacing.com service, at least refreshed and ready for new NASCAR racing at the Speedway. With the track out of the way, we can take a look at the point standings. Practice is ending now with Zach Millett on top over Adam Benefield, Zach Lindgren, Joseph Tucker, and Daniel Wiles, your top 5. But this is where things sit going into this evening in the points. Zach Millett just 5 points up on Daniel Wiles. Adam Benefield only 21 back. Kevin West 40 back. Sean Bowdy 45 back. Really, it's going to take a win for anybody other than Wiles or Benefield to pass Millett. It's going to take a win. You're going to have to go up there, get up on the wheel, and take advantage of whatever you possibly can. Now, for Jared Rashawn, I think he's out of the championship at this point. He's just a whole race back now, missing Gateway a week ago. But, for anybody else in this top 12, I think the option is open. If you're able to get a win, I think the possibility is there for you to get back into this championship fight and battle with Zach Millett, Daniel Wiles, and Adam Benefield. For Daniel Wiles, it's a night of consistency. Just points race your way through this one and get to the end. I feel like if you can manage to keep yourself up front when it's all said and done, you're probably going to be close, if not ahead, of Zach Millett. Now, the problem is Zach Millett did just lead practice, so you might have to go up there and beat him later on in the day, but points rates for the first 90%, and if you have to go out there and try and get him late, you have to go out there and try and get him late. That's just the reality of battling somebody as good as Zach Millett and Adam Benefield. Points out of the way, we can take a look at this series schedule this season. This is race 14, Homestead Miami Speedway, 134 laps coming up in just a few. And it's going to be fun. February 19th here, the schedule has been adjusted now on the graphic to show that off week on February the 5th. We came back last week at Gateway for February 12th. Next up, we go to Talladega, then the road course at Sonoma, then a couple of intermediate racetracks, Kansas and California. Qualifying opening up now, and we can get down trackside and see what's going on for these guys as they start to turn their fastest lap times as quickly as they can. Kevin West, the first to set 2 laps, and he'll go fastest, a 33.543. Zach Lindgren, third quick so far, now 4th. Let's see what car 85 has got. His laps are over, he'll go second. Dylan Cardenas spinning into the inside wall. Crash for car 12. Wiles, half, they're done. Sean Boundy out of the final corner to the stripe here. And for Sean Bounty, he'll tick up to the third position, a 33.715. Noah Rainwater is back this evening. He'll roll out of the pit lane. Zach Millett out on the racetrack. Matthew Taylor on lap number 1 so far. Alfie Sharon Jr., Michael Moultrie, Jeremy Brown, they've all got their runs going. One driver did seem to have an issue on lap 1, and that was Jared Rashawn. His lap time took a moment to register, but he has got it registered now. The Diecast fans number 27 now sits 6th in qualifying so far out of 11 cars that have turned a lap time. Dalton Tucker on lap number 2 here. So far, 10th quick, looking for more out of turn number 4. Sideways up off the corner. And to the stripe. Dalton Tucker is going to slow it down. His lap did not look good. He will start towards the rear of the field. Jared Rashawn, problems. Another crash here in qualifying. Zach Millett now on the racetrack. Lap 1, an abysmal 34.050. Gonna look for a whole lot more here on lap number 2. And to the stripe, Zach Millett, points leader, looking for a big one. It's gonna be a 33.568. That's not quite good for pole, but it will beat Zach Lindgren and move car 31 to second place. Noah Rainwater through turn 4. Haven't seen the Luke's Playhouse 05 in a while. Good to see him here this evening. It's a 33.965. That's good for 16th. Adam Benefield on the racetrack, actually now in the pit lane. He's going to have to start from deep in this field. 14th so far. Here's Joseph Tucker. Tucker to the stripe, a 33.755. That's good for 6th. That bumps Gardenius down to 7th. And Taylor, Wiles, and Washawn make up the rest of the top 10 at the time being. And Michael Matta will come to a stop and end his run. And that looks like it'll be it, leaving Cody Ellis, Richard Lanning, and Brian Ruisi to set no lap time in qualifying. Now, I mentioned earlier Scott Shive would be with me, and he will be with me a little bit later on this evening, a little bit delayed tonight, so he'll be joining us here in just a few. Until then, let's take a look at the Lucky Performance starting grid. On pole, Kevin West, car 01, the fastest qualifier tonight. His time stood tall, and boy, will it help him out this evening. He will start from position number 1. Zach Millett will start from 2nd. Now watch the start between these two. That outside line just might have enough for Zach Millett to rocket off the backstretch and lead the opening lap. We've seen that before. In fact, we saw it in last night's BRB Racing League event at IRP. Starting 3rd, it'll be Zach Lindgren alongside Sean Boundy. A couple of strong cars there in row number 2. Jeremy Brown from row number 3 alongside Joseph Tucker. Starting from 7th, you'll find car 12. Dylan Cardini making his return to the series. Matthew Taylor rolls off 8th. Rolling off 9th and 10th, last week's winner. Well, in fact, the last 2 winners of the series, Daniel Wiles and Jared Rashawn, winning at Gateway and Richmond, respectively. Alfie Sharon Jr. will roll off from 11th spot alongside Russell Black in the 64 car. Michael Moultrie from 13th, Daniel Haff from 14th. Starting 15th, Adam Benefield alongside Noah Rainwater in the 16th position. 17th and 18th, Dalton Tucker and Michael Matta. Richard Lanning and Brian Ruisi will cap off the top 20. And one car remains, it's Cody Ellis, but he turned no practice lap, he turned no qualifying lap, and he turned, well, I don't think he'll be turning any race laps this evening. We'll have to wait and see, but it's not looking like the 4 car will be joining us here tonight. As the field prepares to go racing this evening, we'll take a look at your Whiplash SimCam's race details. This is a 134 lap race with 4 change sets in the pit lane. 65% fuel load. We expect that to be about 42 to 48 laps to a tank. Fixed setups, no fast fix. And up to 3 green-white checkers are available. Weather conditions in the sim, 84.1 degrees in the air, track temp of 105 degrees. It's a toasty one. And that is going to play very, very heavily into how these cars handle over the course of this evening. Watch for tires to wear out mid-run, and these guys to be wanting tires as soon as possible. We'll head through turns number 3 and 4 and down to the Geico restart zone to get this race underway. Into that Geico restart zone, Kevin West, Zach Millett on the front row. We are green flag racing in Miami. I deeply apologize. We've been showing B-roll. I'm so sorry. It's up now. Deeply, deeply apologized. Glad we got it sorted just for the start of the race. Zach Millett falls back to second, now third. Zach Lindgren, though, on the inside. Kevin West drifts turns 3 and 4. And Lindgren's going to pull away. Kevin West started on pole. He falls back to the 6th position after 1 lap of racing. Make that 7th. Lindgren pulls away with the race lead. Joseph Tucker in second. What an opening lap at Miami. I mentioned Scott Shive would be joining me this evening. Scott, welcome to the booth. A crazy opening lap.
Glad to be here.
Crazy opening lap to get things started. Zach Lindgren shoots out to a 6/10 of a second lead. Zach Millett takes over second from Joseph Tucker. And then you've got me floundering around with the B-roll. Oh, it's just going to be one of those nights.
I saw it just as we were entering. I was like, wait a second, Andrew I don't think he's got the racing action going on, but hey, the B-roll looked great. You got it as we started going, and as you know, Zach Lindgren out leading the charge right now in that number 85 machine. So started out front here today and doing well so far, overtook Zach Millett. But you know this track is one of those tough tracks. You go the high line, the low line, you can go pretty much anywhere.
Now this setup is going to handle differently from a lot of setups these guys have driven on before. This is a Taylor-built Team Conti Racing setup meant for this series to go racing this evening, and these guys are going to battle with it. We might not see as much high groove action this evening. A lot of these guys are going straight for the bottom so far. Jeremy Brown, one of the few drivers right on the top side, he gets a run here on the front stretch. But so far I see a lot of cars going right to the bottom.
Yeah, really, you're going to save tire down there on the bottom. So that's why you see a lot of drivers down there. You see some not quite as confident near the top line because it is so risky to be up near that wall. We got battle for position here, heavy battle for position back here in the mid-pack. That's Michael Moultrie around in the 34 of Sean Bounty battling on the outside. And again, like you said, cars going all over this racetrack.
Zach Lindgren fastest out ahead. Sometimes that's a curse to be fastest in a green flag scenario like this. To be turning the best times on the racetrack, that means you're probably burning your tires up a little bit. So he could sink deeper in this field later on, and it's a blessing and a curse, man. It's so nice to be fast. It means a lot to you when you're doing it, but I don't know. That might not hold up.
Well, it's nice to be fast, but I would feel good if I'm running the exact same times as a Zach Millett. Millett, 5-time winner here in this Simrat Market Series with No Limit Racing. If I'm running around the same time he is, which Lindgren is, they're the almost identical lap times. We see Jeremy Brown in the 07 take the fastest lap away. And if I'm running around the pace Zach Millett is, I feel good.
Millett now starting to run that 85 car down, but we ride on board with Jeremy Brown. Brown going to use the higher lane there through 3 and 4, at least higher than Dylan Cardenas, and got to his right rear. Cardenas hangs on though, and will now challenge Joseph Tucker down to turn number 1. Tucker was strong off the start and has been falling back since. He's down to 5th.
Tucker, one of those drivers, has been so close to a win in this series a few times. He's made it into this championship fight, but he's 48 points back after one race in this playoff. So he needs a night to go well tonight. He's on the bottom of that 12 car of Dylan Cardenas, trying to move around him. Again, that bottom lane is quick, but you get such great momentum on that top line as you see Cardenas surge forward.
I would argue Tucker should have won at Richmond and could have won last week at Gateway. So this guy is on the edge there of getting a race win. It'd be a lot of fun to see the 39 car go to victory lane, but somebody who was able to do it just got put in the wall. Daniel Wiles won at Gateway a week ago. Comes into tonight 5 points out of the points lead and just got shoved to the outside wall by Jeremy Brown through turn number 2. Nothing intentional for sure, but a little bit of rear contact moved the 88 car up the racetrack, and there has got to be damage.
I'm looking at it right now. There's not at least any cosmetically, and looking on that right front on the camera, and so it doesn't look to be any at least cosmetic damage, which maybe iRacing gave him a little bit of a break. And so that will all be fine as we see a pass for the lead has been made. Zach Millett takes it back from Zach Lindgren.
Millett over Lindgren now. Millett started from 2nd. Lindgren started from the 3rd spot. Here comes Boundy. Rather, Cardenas making a move on Boundy.
Yeah, well, you see the 0-1 of Kevin West, the driver who started on the pole, had a problem. He's back in 10th. We see here Sean Boundy on the top, fighting here for this podium position. Cardenas able to take it on the bottom. Will he slide up to get in front? No. He'll leave the lane open for Sean Boundy here on the outside. So Cardenas, you saw him ripping the top a minute ago to try to get around that 39 car of Tucker. Now he goes down to the bottom. Well, it's a little loose there off of turn 4. They're going to be side by side across the line.
Boundy wins out for now. Cardenas still painting that white line on the inside. Still trying to go by this 34 car. Not going to happen there in 1 and 2.
I love this track. It's just so many, you can run so many different lines all the way to the top, all the way down to the bottom. It creates excellent multi-groove racing. You see Sean Boundy stick towards the top. Cardenas does as well. We ride along with Joseph Tucker. He gets to the inside of Cardenas. Cardenas had another wiggle out of turn 4, this time on the high line. But again, Highline has such good momentum. You can see here that Tucker able to roll the center of the corner really well, gets it side by side with Cardenas, but here down the back straightaway, you'll see that Cardenas is just able to pull away.
Some fights deeper in the field. Kevin West and Jared Rashawn and Matthew Taylor. A 3-car fight here for 8th position. West trying to move on by and get back up on the saddle. Taylor gets a little loose and hangs on to the race car ever so slightly. Right behind them, Adam Benefield runs in the 11th position. Then you'll find Michael Moultrie down in 12th. Alfie Sharon Jr. in 13th. Now Dalton Tucker 13th over Sharon Jr. 14th. And then a couple cars making contact. Russell Black and Noah Rainwater back here. Good to see Rainwater back.
Seriously, a driver that we know is definitely aggressive in that 05 machine. Him and Russell Black in the tight quarters here, racing for it. Now they're going to almost go think about the outside of Alfie Sharon Jr. But Noah Rainwater gets loose there on the top. That's going to allow Russell Black to go on through. He's going to battle here with Sharon Jr.
There's a shot in the shorts there, the 99 car, to get him up and going down the straightaway. Noah turns the car down the racetrack through 1 and 2 and attacks from the inside now. The Track Bar Media 99 on the top side, going to hold that 64 down. But Black, I think, had a good corner. Now Sharon has the run. And Rainwater watches on, just waiting for an opportunity to get on through.
Black, one of those drivers, barely missing the cut line in the regular season. Alfie Sharon Jr. barely squeezed his way in. So Russell Black looking to prove something here in these playoffs that he deserved to make it. Meanwhile, Sharon Jr. trying to get some valuable points. He currently sits 8th right now, 57 back from Millett, but he's falling back fast. Meanwhile, Cardenas falling back a little bit. He fell behind Daniel Wiles, tries to make a charge here, dips down to the inside. Wiles goes to the middle, Cardenas all the way towards the bottom. Side by side, who will prevail?
Daniel Wiles up top will pull away with 4th place for now. It's still real early. Now, we don't have stages here in the SimRat Market Series. That sets this series apart from many other on the sim. So this is a straight-up race for 134 laps. These guys have got to manage their tires, manage their fuel over the course of this night. We could get a caution any time. That was Jeremy Brown to the inside in the 07 car. Could have a caution come out at any point in time if something like that happens and he goes around, but he hangs on to the race car and we'll keep on going.
That was a close one, way loose out of turn number 2. You saw the 07 of Jeremy Brown far away from the shot. He's currently running 7th. I imagine he was trying to battle as that caution flies. You were just talking about Noah Rainwater spins on the front straightaway.
I was just saying a caution could come out at any time. And it comes out here for Noah Rainwater making his return through the SimRat Market Series. Noah racing here with Russell Black. We saw them making contact previously. Noah on the inside in that number 05 out of Lincolnton, North Carolina. Comes up off of turn 4 and just thought he was clear.
Yeah, not enough room there for Noah Rainwater. Thought he had it. Just Russell Black was there by just a hair.
And it's a quick nose into the outside wall. Black dispatches of the 05, and that's all she wrote. Glad the cars behind were able to avoid. That was a hairy moment for sure. And of course, brings out our first caution of the evening. Here comes the entire field down the pit road. 4 sets of tires rather, in the pit lane this evening. Plenty to go around, but do you take them here this early, or do you maybe wait?
I don't know. I feel like I would be a driver to maybe wait. Maybe at this point, I might try right sides, try something out. Maybe if I can play a strategy near the end of the race. But right now, I don't know. It seems a little bit early for tires because you never know with cautions. Of course, we know here the SimRat Market Series with No Limit Racing, very, very clean racing all around. You'll see Millett get out first, but you never know. I mean, Homestead is a wild place. Multi-groove racing can breed those cautions, breed that chaos. And so I don't know about using them this early, but everyone came into the lane, so they might know something more than I do.
Well, Zach Millett agrees with us. He takes no tires, only fuel. And there were a couple of other drivers who do the same. Yeah, so we're going to go back and get a look at this. We don't often replay pit stops, but we do here. Millett, I noticed he did not go up on jacks, but let's see how many West and Lindgren and Boundy took. Boundy up on the right sides, Lindgren up on the right sides, West up on the right sides. Lindgren went for 4.
It looks like everyone else took 4. I don't think anyone tried 2 tires. Benefill might have, because look at it, Zach Millett, Matthew Taylor, Alfie Sharon Jr., all 6.9, 6.5 seconds in the box, but Benefill was 8.4.
Let's fact check it.
Let's see.
Does Benefill take 2?
Let's see if Scott is correct or just completely guessing into the wind.
Might be guessing into the wind here. I think that's no tires.
No! Yeah. Darn it. Well, I was wondering why it was 2 seconds slower, but
might have just taken a little more fuel.
Maybe so. I tried, fans.
A little bit of argument over who goes where.
Position. Yeah. We saw a lot of this. I don't know if you watched the World Series of Asphalt. We might have talked about it, but we saw a lot of this. Drivers not sure where they were supposed to be, one believing they were in front of the other, but it looks like Daniel Wiles was there. So it looks, and another little dispute here.
You don't see this in iRacing very often, but that could be.
Look at this. I see it. 07, too many boxes. So that is a EOL.
Oh, man. Here we go. Back around to the Geico restart zone now on lap 24 of lap 21 of 134. Getting numbers a little mixed up here. But into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. We are racing again at Miami. Something I find interesting about the pit call is 3 of the 4 cars that took no tires are on the same team.
Interesting call. And you'll see here Lindgren, the first car on fresh shoes. And so he's down there on the bottom behind Adam Benefeld. Whoa, big time loose for
Big
Alfie
crash.
Sharon Digger. Big wreck in the back. Kevin West, the caution flies. And I think, yeah, you got the 29 of Moultrie in there. Oh, goodness.
Daniel Wiles got a big piece of it. West got free. Wiles went high. Moultrie got into it and came back up and body slammed the 0-1 up into the 88.
Golly. That's going to be some big-time front wheel damage.
You've got wheel damage. You've got wheel damage. You've got wheel damage.
They're
That's
giving
all
it
that
to
runs
each
through my
other
head
all
there.
here.
So
Look
watch
at here.
Here, I'm going to do something that I don't always do. But watch.
You going to draw?
Yes, watch that car there.
He's going to draw.
Watch that car there. He gets loose. Checks up.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
He saved it for a second after that bump, but Moultrie was there, got involved, and then was unable to save it, came up the track and got them both. Wiles and that of Kevin West.
From Russell Black's perspective, you see the 0-1 get loose,
Oh my
come back
God.
up. And he ends up driving into Moultrie, and that's what causes that.
Yep, there was definitely some contact there between the two.
So Moultrie gets hit. The 0-1 saved it. Moultrie gets hit while checking up, and that sends him up the racetrack, body slamming into Kevin West, who I think has a new number font this week.
Really? Oh, he does. You're right. Trying to change it up for the, for the playoffs. You know, he's sitting in 4th. He's only 40 points back from Zach Millett, so he's having a good playoff so far. Obviously did well at Gateway, but not the start he wanted to Homestead.
Of course, no fast repairs here, so all of this damage has to be repaired in the pit lane. See West's number 0-1 dented up on the right front especially. The left rear as well. So trouble early for multiple playoff drivers. He's going to come back into the pit lane and take more repairs. And he's the one driver to do so on this lap. Matthew Taylor is technically the leader for the time being because he's nosed ahead of Zach Millett, but Millett is the leader. He will bring us back to the green flag this time around. While we have an opportunity, I want to thank those that help us with the series. SimRapMarket.com, Apex Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, Moza Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Track Bar Media, The Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, and Cyber Edge Hosting. I also want to thank those who help us with Pit Stop TV. Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. This time by, we'll go back racing into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag, back in the air at Homestead Miami Speedway. 3 wide. Here comes Lindgren down the backstretch. He's got those new tires, and he's putting them to use.
Putting them to use 3 wide down through turn 3. Lindgren in the wall there, trying to take it to the outside, put those tires to use like you said, gets into the wall while everyone behind was 3 wide. He's going to go from 4th all the way to 2nd. Now he looks ahead to Millett.
The Lindgren on attack mode. Now, one thing about these guys pitting when they did is it does get them in range to play this race in reverse, about 40 laps apiece each run. There's about 120 to go when that first caution came out. So maybe that was the goal. I'm not really sure, but Lindgren way free, chases the car all the way down, just hangs on. Here comes Bounty.
Big time moment for Lindgren there. Bounty goes to the top side down in 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Zach Millett trying to get away on the bottom line. Jared Bushon, we look along with him and ride in his cockpit. Wide, 2 wide in front of them. That's Lindgren and Bounty. Bounty edges ahead here. Bushon trying to attack for 3rd. He goes to the high side.
And what are we learning from this? Tires in the hands of the rest of the field versus no tires on the 31 car? I don't think it's making much of a difference.
Not too much here, and let's remember that was about 20 laps, so a little bit. It was 19 in the green flag run, and so that's about halfway we would go in a fuel management situation. So yeah, tires really not mattering much here at this moment. We'll have to see how they grow here, because again, we might get a longer green flag run this time around. With Sean really all out on his lonesome, then it's Tucker and Benefiel right together battling for this top 5 spot.
And I thought this would be an Adam Benefiel kind of night. This just felt like an intermediate that he might dominate. And I'm surprised that he's sitting back here in 6th position, not really able to go anywhere yet. Now, it's still very early in this race, only 30 laps in, but I expected him to be much further forward.
Yeah, so did I. And you saw him, he really didn't have the best qualifying, not one that we would imagine from him. And so he qualified back in 15th, and he's currently up to 6th. He's been up to 3rd, but currently sitting in 6th, right behind that of the 39 of Joseph Tucker. So it looks like he might be pacing himself tonight. That might be something we're not thinking about. He might just be pacing himself.
One of the few drivers running the boards right now is Sean Bounty. Gets a run off the top side. You see Millett break the draft of that 34 car, try to hold him back a little bit longer. Bounty, though, unfazed as one car is slow. It's Michael Moultrie, no caution.
Moultrie slow, has a problem here. We say green. We'll check out the Pit Stop TV replay. So what happened to that number 29? Oh, big problem there. Who was that with?
I think that was Matthew Taylor.
Let's see. I'm gonna look through right now.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah, Taylor slaps the wall. Black checks
that was
up.
Black. I was wondering who he had gotten into. It was Russell Black.
Well, lead change. Sean Bounty working on the outside here and might be able to nose ahead this time through 1 and 2.
I was going to say lead change for just a moment. Now it's Millett, and Bounty's going to have the run on the outside. Lindgren going to follow him through. So Bounty has got it here, and Lindgren follows him through. Now he takes the move down to the bottom. Lindgren wants the lead.
Zach Lindgren working the inside. Just about 100 laps to go now. Call it 101 right there at the stripe. Starting to click them off one by one. We are now 14 laps in from these guys making their last pit stop. That, of course, was under the first caution. Look at Jared Rashawn run the boards there. He's going to move. Oh, tried to go low. That was blocked by Millett. Millett's going to be a roadblock down there. He's going to make all these guys work on the outside lane.
Yeah, with Sean having a great night. And like you said, yeah, Millett is going to make them go around. And the interesting thing about this is these are the guys with tires, and here they come. Millett is the one that is standing. So it looks like off the jump, off the restart, everyone is pretty much even, but we've gotten about now 6 or 7 laps into this run since we dropped the green flag, and now those fresh tires are starting to matter. Lindgren now towards the top, Bounty down on the bottom. They continue to battle it out for this lead, side by side through 3 and 4, 35 laps complete. Will it be Bounty or Lindgren?
I don't think either line has a clear advantage, top versus bottom.
I don't think so either. I mean, they both have, their pros and cons. And so you run the top up there, you're going to use a little bit more tire. It's more risky. Being up near that wall, you get great momentum down the back straightaway. But that bottom line, very solid, very good run. You're going to save tire, but you don't get that momentum off the corner.
Yeah, I would say the top side might be a little bit more disadvantageous just because you do burn tires up. But in a heads-up battle, I don't see a clear favorite versus some setups we run. You'll see the top line be better, the bottom line be better. I'm not seeing one line be that much better in a straight-up battle, which is surprising to me. Usually the top side is really, really good to defend from, make passes from, and the bottom can be used for things like slide jobs and whatnot, but we're just not seeing it tonight.
Well, that's where I'd say it's all up to the driver. What feels better for you as a driver? When the track, as you see with Sean trying to move into second here, he slides up in front of Lindgren. Lindgren trying to pull a little bit of a draft here, but what about Jared Wishon?
What about him? Well, he won a couple of races ago at Richmond, got his way into the playoffs, solidified it that night. Granted, he was already going to point his way in, at least it was looking like it, but that just kind of solidified things for him. Missed Gateway, though, and now is way, way back behind everybody else in the point standings. It's not very likely. I think he's potentially eliminated realistically. Not mathematically, but realistically eliminated from the championship. But he can still fight for all these different point positions and try and claw his way back through.
I mean, you know that Millett is going to absolutely perform well in these playoffs, and if Jared Wishon wanted any chance whatsoever, I mean, Millett would have to have multiple bad races, as well as Wiles, Benefield, and Weston Bounty, and I just don't see that happening.
Everybody would have to have a bad race for the 27 to get there. I mean, that's the reality of the situation, unfortunately. Just missing a race like that early in the playoffs, that's just what's going to happen. But he's looking good so far tonight. Runs in second now, and the die-cast fans Ford Mustang is a strong one for sure. Now there's some battling deeper in the field. We'll recap some of that quickly as Zach Millett and Dylan Cardenas do some fighting. Cardenas goes by, that's for 6th. Behind these guys, Noah Rainwater and Adam Benefield fight. Rainwater up to 8th, Benefield down to 9th. And they'll argue over that a little bit. Daniel Wiles sits right behind in 10th.
Benefield, another one of those drivers that did not take tires on that pit stop. So again, all these drivers able to pass around like this so easily are those drivers that did take tires on that previous pit stop. So I got to wonder what strategy they're playing. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you talked about flipping it, where some of those drivers that took tires were getting that early one out of the way. I think some of these front runners that we normally see, like Millett, Benefield, and the others, they're thinking about running it short on the end of the race.
I think the simple part to it is definitely they want to save a set of tires, but I think you're onto something there for sure and how they want to play this strategy. You'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's a little bit too early to tell, but as we are about halfway through this run, we'll be finding out soon as far as what these guys want to do, whether it's a caution coming out to change things up or if it's going all the way green to a green flag pit stop and just finding out when these guys actually want to come into the pit lane and what the rest of the race looks like from there. Daniel Wiles works on Noah Rainwater. This is for the 8th position. This is a lot of fun to watch. The 88 just trying to chip away at this spot, trying to get back into this race. Of course, there's a great opportunity ahead of him this evening to go up there and tackle a 31 car and try and work on that points lead. He's only 5 back, so this is a really good opportunity for him to get up on the wheel and find something in these playoffs, but if he's mired back with damage, that's just not going to happen.
I was going to say, Wiles trying to go back-to-back. He did come into the pit lane under that last caution that we saw, but he did not have much damage. He was only in the box for 5.2 seconds, so really nothing too crazy on that number 88 machine for Wiles. He seems to be in excellent condition now, trying to work up through this field. He's working on the 8th position, battling with Rainwater. Millet, big problem out of turn number 2 in front of them. That's going to give them great momentum. Big block from Millet on Noah Rainwater, and that is going to allow Wiles to go to the outside. He's probably going to have this.
We'll see. Off the corner, Wiles has a run. He'll get clear of Rainwater and have an opportunity to move down, and he does. Millet tried to block it. Wiles moved too fast, and Wiles goes on by. The other part there, it was announced last week in post-race interviews that they are now teammates. Zach Millet making a shift while he's still listed at Track Bar Media, making a shift over to race with America Racing soon. So he's technically now aligned with that 88 car and wants to work with him. We saw that at Gateway a week ago. I think there was some of that in that.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, you saw Millet try to block, but you didn't see anything crazy aggressive, so I think there was definitely a little bit of that to play. But here, Millet continues to fall back on those old tires, and look at this. He's now going to fight with Benefil. The thing here is Benefil on the same strategy, so these two fighting, they have the same tire strategy going on. It looks like Benefil may be saving more somehow.
Well, we know he's good on long runs. We know he's good at saving tires, and I think if we were to watch these guys have a long run, he might be a little bit better on that long run versus the 31 cars. So if we get into a long run scenario where everybody's on the same tire strategy, watch out for car 83. It looks like he's got something, but it's hard to say. This is a small sample size, and I do want to call out that we have a battle for the race lead, and it's looking good.
Looking good here between Bounty and Lindgren. They've continued to go at it all throughout this run. Jared Bushon there in third in the waiting, but both down to the bottom. You'll see Sean Bounty a lane up, trying to get that momentum, but these two have continued to go back to battle lap after lap after lap, and those top 4 are tight together, all within 0.4 of a second are these leaders. Looks like Zach Lindgren is really able to roll the top well. He's gotten into the wall a few times, but he rolls that top so well. Joseph Tucker moves in front of Jared Bushon back there for third, but Lindgren continues to peak down to the bottom here on the inside of Bounty.
I know Zach pretty well, and I happen to know that he's a big Kyle Larson fan. So if there's any track that he wants to go run the boards at, it's going to be Homestead Miami Speedway. He's going to want to run up top and try to replicate that Larson line. And he's doing a good job of it this evening. This time, though, he drives down low and works on Sean Bounty from the inside lane. It's going to be no dice. He slips up and loses that spot back to Bounty on the straightaway, but it was looking good for a second.
Yeah, now he goes up top. Jared Bushon got in the wall big time last lap around in turn 4. Lost that spot to Cardenas, but now they go back to battle side by side here. Cardenas will have it, but won't throw the block. He moves down, so this is your battle for 4th. Meanwhile, it's about to be a 3-way battle for the lead.
The right side damage to that 27 car, but you mentioned it, a three-way fight for the race lead. Tucker now going to nose up ahead, and he clears Bounty for the race lead, moves right up in front of that 34 car, and now Lindgren looks to the inside of Tucker. That gets shut down quickly. Joseph Tucker quickly surges up to the point and will lead at Homestead on lap 50.
That's something he used. Lindgren and Bounty fighting side by side in that top and middle line. He rung it around the bottom and cleared them before they could get up to him, because as we talked about, that top just has such great momentum. But he was able to use them, that battle, kind of as a pick, really an air pick to get in front of them for this lead. So Joseph Tucker leads for the first time tonight. And man, look at these top 6. They are all right here.
Tucker's starting to set sail, maybe. He's got those 4 tires. Granted, he's on the same tire strategy as Bounty, Lindgren, Cardenas, and the rest of these guys, but he is just driving away right now. That car seems to be rolling the top side nicely, bottom side nicely. He can just move around. But Bounty has got Cardenas right behind, Lindgren to the inside. He's got trouble forming.
Well, I want to make a note of this. Daniel Wiles, another one of those drivers, had damage last time around. He's running a 1/10.5 quicker than the rest of these drivers in front of him. So Daniel Wiles is faster, but look at that traffic in front of him. Again, they're all on the lead lap, so these are battles for position, but that is a lot to try to get through.
Whoa,
Big
Lindgren
problem.
again. Drifting out of turn 4, falls down to the inside line, now dives back up top. He does not like the way that car feels, I can tell.
That's one position clicked off for Wiles as he continues to move forward. And like you said, Lindgren not liking how that car is driving in the 85. Looks like he's big time loose off of these corners. So want to tighten that car up the next time he comes in for service. Joseph Tucker continues to lead on the bottom, but Daniel Cardenas moved onto the podium trying to battle here with Boundy.
Dalton Tucker is up here now as well, so both Tuckers in the top 5. Joseph leading, Dalton runs 5th. And Cardenas looks really good right now. I don't know where he came from, but he's got some speed up there. I think just waiting for a good opportunity to get by that 34 car, and here it maybe comes. He'll look to the inside of car 34 here at turn number 3 and make the dive to the bottom side of the racetrack. He should be able to clear that 34 and slide on up. Slide job initiated and slide job successful.
Well, I want to say these drivers are all very near each other in speed right now, except for Joseph Tucker. He is almost a tenth faster than most of these drivers. He ran a little bit slower that lap, but he is driving away right now.
So Joseph Tucker looking good on lap 55. He's been leading for about 5 laps now. With Sean, a run here on Tucker. The other Tucker, Dalton Tucker, as Cardenas goes down low this time in 3 and 4.
Cardenas continues to try to move forward. He does solidify that in front of Boundy. That's going to put Boundy and Tucker side by side. That's Dalton Tucker in that number 21. He'll look down to the bottom. Meanwhile, 34 Boundy goes towards the middle, drifts up to the high line, trying to carry more speed here on the exit. But Dalton Tucker going to move through. Looks like that car for Boundy is slowing down.
I want to mention Adam Benefiel has driven by the 05 on old tires here. Benefiel has much older tires than Rainwater, but he drove right on by the 05, made that pass, and now Millett's looking to do the same. So I think tires are starting to equalize. We got to watch the 83 and 31. They could start to claw back up here.
Yeah, claw. They're going to have to claw because they're 2.6 seconds back from the next car of Zach Lindgren. So they've got some work ahead of them to do. Meanwhile, Boundy continues to try to hold off these cars. This is Wiles to the inside. He continues to surge forward. Gonna get a big push here from Washawn into turn number 3. That's gonna give him some great speed. But Washawn also has a fast driving Mustang, trying to make a hole here on the outside of Boundy. He's gonna cross him over. Boundy gets into the wall here. That's gonna allow Washawn to go to the bottom and surge on through.
These cars have slowed down to the point where they're now shifting in the corners. They were in 5th gear all the way around the racetrack earlier. Now they're running 4th in the corners, at least down in turns 3 and 4, to get that run up off the corner and drive down the straightaway. Wiles moves into 4th over Washawn and Boundy. Lindgren watches on from 7th. Dalton Tucker in 3rd. And what a wild top 3 we have. To have Tucker, Cardenas, and Tucker, your top 3 right now. Joseph Tucker finally rising to the occasion these last 3 weeks. Last 3 races has been really, really good lately. Cardenas couldn't make it last week, but shows up this week and is fast. And Dalton Tucker missed a bunch of the season, but comes back and just has that speed immediately. A lot of fun to watch these guys, and what a wild top 3 we have going right now. Wild top 7, really.
Yeah, really, well, a wild top 7, like you mentioned. We not surprised to see Zach Lindgren up there, but a lot of these other guys haven't been running up front, or at least in the top 5 consistently. I think all of these guys have been there at some point in the season, but never truly consistently. And so they are all up here right now, racing it out here at Homestead. Dalton Tucker continues to have great speed, moving into 2nd here. Cardenas not able to put up a fight.
And the pit window is opening up here on lap number 60 of 134. We were told 40 to 50 laps, so we'll go with about 42 to 48. Maybe a little bit longer on a long run if these guys are saving. We'll see how that breaks down. 40 from the end is going to be about 94. So the pit window is open to make this a 2-stop race, and immediately Sean Boundy comes in.
Sean Bounty coming into the pit lane, going to start it off. Benefiel follows, and Kevin West. Excuse me, I don't think that's Benefiel. Who is that?
That is Millet.
That is Russell Black. Is it?
Yeah, that's Millet in the 31.
Oh, I got it wrong on my charts. Yep, that is Millet, Kevin West. So they're all going to come in at the moment the door opens. They definitely needed some fresh tires. At least Millet did for sure. And Bounty obviously not liking how that car is driving for him.
Watch for the response pit from Adam Benefiel this time. He is going to come in and take service in that number 83 car. He has to cover that up. Millet came in, he's got a pit.
Let me mention, Adam Benefiel there was running a tenth faster than the leader of Joseph Tucker, and Tucker was on new tires. And so that goes to show you how good Adam Benefiel is on the long run. We've seen him prevail on long runs before, but tonight, that is what he is going to need. And you saw that strategy work out for him. These drivers continue to stay out here up front. Daniel Wiles continues to try to move forward in this race after having that moment with Michael Moultrie and Kevin West. He's put himself up into fourth.
And you know, this is a long run kind of league. When we have long runs, it's guys like Benefiel and Millet that go to victory lane. When we have short runs to the end, that's when you see guys like Washawn and Wiles win the races, and that's what we've seen the last 2 weeks. So if this does become a long run to the end kind of day, I think the 83 can get up there and get those spots away. It's just going to take some work. Granted, this is a bit of a shorter race than what we're used to, as Wiles is going to come into the pit lane here. This is slightly shorter by about 50 miles or so than what these guys have run earlier this season.
Yes, shorter race here tonight. The laps have clicked off quickly. We cross over halfway about now. I have a few more laps until true halfway. Here out front, you know, Sean Bounty,
for tires.
And they just came into the pit lane, and we've seen these two battle for a lot of this race.
We have, and this is one of the first fights on new tires. Sean Bounty, Zach Lindgren, they are the top two cars on brand new sticker tires on the racetrack, and look at how close Benefiel and Millet are. They're going to have to drive from behind, but I think they're going to have a leg up, and look at that, Millet fastest. Now that they're on even footing, I think they're going to drive right up to the 85 and 34 and 88 as here comes Wiles off the pit lane. If this race goes green, I think it's an 83-31 kind of day.
I couldn't agree more, and I think you'll see Millet charge here very quickly on these drivers in front of him. But I think Benefiel, you'll see him stay where he's at, and then in about 20 laps, you'll see him just start to surge forward because, again, he just, always good in the long run. I think that's partly because of how good he is at saving tire. So I think you'll see Benefiel at least not gain an aggressive pace, but then as this run continues to go green, he will surge forward.
Well, and they short pitted, did Benefiel and Millet, so they are able to gain some time on these guys. I think short pitting is going to be the way to go tonight. I think there's just such a negligible difference between new tires and old tires. I think you've got a short pit. You want to be the first one on the pit lane.
Everyone in the pit lane now. Joseph Tucker coming in. Dalton Tucker, Cardenas, all coming out of the pit lane now. But Joseph Tucker, the last car to enter the pit lane.
Here's Dalton. There's Cardenas. And Benefiel and Millet have closed that gap. Benefiel to the inside of Jared Washawn here into turn number 3. He's going to split them 3 wide and go right on by the 21. Right on by the 27, it looks like as well. Maybe not. Washawn puts up a fight.
I think Benefiel is going to go easy here. I don't think he's going to make any crazy moves because he does not want to burn up his stuff. Again, we'll say it all night. He's so good on the long run. So I think you'll see him stay competent here between them. It's a battle between Millet and Dalton Tucker now. This battle up here is for the 7th position. Meanwhile, here comes Joseph Tucker from the pit lane. He's going to enter into this battle while Zach Lindgren and Sean Bounty go to battle yet again for the lead.
And because they pitted earlier than Joseph Tucker, they exit with the race lead here and cycle out to first and second. You've got to be the first car to the pit lane tonight. It's just going to be the way it goes.
Yeah, I guess Tucker was waiting for a caution there, tried to stay out longer. I mean, I can't imagine why. He had great positioning. He was leading the race and leading well. He had putting down good lap time. So I can't imagine the strategy call to go out there and try to get a caution. You see right here, Tucker trying to get a little bit of a nose on Millett. He is driving fast down onto the bottom of turns 3 and 4. Going to go to the inside of Millett here and the inside of Dalton Tucker.
He's got a 6-lap advantage over Zach Millett, a 5-lap advantage over Lindgren and Benefield. I just don't know if that's going to be enough. We've seen tires not matter as much tonight, strangely. At least not until the mid part of a run. Then, yeah, you get some nice gains out of them, but I don't know, man. I don't know about waiting that long to pit.
I don't like it at all. You're leading the race. You're putting down great lap time, and you look. I mean, he gave up so much time. He gave up about 2 seconds by pitting later, and that purely from staying out on the racetrack. And so he's moved himself back up into 6th, but now Benefield has gone to the inside of Millett here. So the opposite of what I said, it looks like Millett holding tough where he is at. Benefield now slowly moving forward.
So Tucker goes back up into 6th spot. Lindgren takes over the race. Wiles shoots on up to 2nd place. He hit it a little bit later than Boundy, a little bit later than Lindgren, so maybe I might eat some words. I don't know. This is such a back and forth kind of race right now. Sometimes it looks like tires don't matter at all, then these guys on this run make it look like tires matter a ton.
Yeah, I think it's something that we're just going to have to see when we get into the last 25 laps or when we get to our last pit stop that will come a little bit earlier than that. Something that's going to have to be foreseen. And so it's Daniel Wiles right now getting in front of Sean Boundy. It just looks like Boundy does not have the speed to be able to keep it up front.
He did earlier, doesn't right now. Joseph Tucker goes by Dalton Tucker. At least tries to here. Side by side they stay. Joseph pushes up. Dalton tries to pinch down. And here comes Daniel Wiles. He looks to the inside of Lindgren.
Cardenas had a big moment back there behind Zach Millett. Daniel Wiles slowly waning right here in the 2nd spot. He tries to down off the corner and get that excellent speed. It'll be just under a 10th back from Lindgren right now. So I think the 88 is waiting for a mistake, waiting for an opening from this 85. 85 gets loose right there. Wiles is going to have a good run here down the back straightaway.
And if you've watched Zach Lindgren throughout this race, mistakes have been aplenty. We've seen Lindgren get loose here, loose there, loose everywhere. If you just wait and put some pressure on the 85, it seems like, yeah, right there, he gets free, just steps over that line a little bit too much, makes that small mistake and slips up.
That's exactly what Wiles was waiting for, and he takes the opening and gets the spot. Meanwhile, Tucker still trying to use this advantage of those tires 6 laps fresher from his competition. He goes to the inside of Jared Wishon. All of these drivers fighting for this championship are having a great day. Whoa, big move by Jared Wishon. Great run down the back straightaway. Squeezes that hole between Boundy and Tucker and makes it work. 2 positions in one go. Jared Wishon is up to 3rd.
Power move from that Ford Mustang. Now 3 Mustangs lead the race. Wiles, Lindgren, and Wishon. 2 Toyotas sit 4th and 5th. Joseph Tucker now 4th over Sean Boundy, 5th place.
Boundy continuing to fall slowly but surely in this race. Really slow lap that last time by. It was about 0.5 of a second off. And so it looked like he had a big problem that last time by. And so the slow is a bit slower this time, but Boundy just not liking his car. It was running great earlier in this race, battling with Lindgren. It looks like it likes that early part of the run, but as these tires start to wear, something is changing in that number 34.
Now we expect these guys back on the pit lane somewhere around lap 100. That would split the gap from about lap 65 to lap 134. So a lot of time for these guys to just sit and battle now. They've made their pit stops. They've come off the pit lane, cycled out into what position they've got now. And I'll be honest, I'm surprised the 31 and 83 aren't moving forward faster, but they are still right behind these guys and lurking. And you know, when you've got them in the rear view, they can move up and pounce at any point in time.
I don't know. I just feel like they're taking their time. I just feel like they're playing this very strategically, very methodically, and working it slowly, bit by bit. You see Benefield start to work here to the inside of Sean Boundy. He's going to go by here in one corner. He can slide up here. He's clear now. Millett also going to follow down to the inside. So Millett, Boundy, side by side. This is the battle for 7.
Benefield pulls away. Now a second between Wiles and Lindgren out front. And Boundy uses the top side to his advantage to stay ahead of Zach Millett for now. Sean looked really good for a little bit, led some laps, and that car is starting to look a little bit anemic as the race goes on. 16 laps led, but that Toyota is just sinking back now. He was one of the first cars to pit. Maybe that's part of it.
Cardenas gets in the wall, has another little bit of a mistake. This is going to hurt Millett a lot. He is losing a good chunk of time to Benefield, with these two going to fight it out 3 wide with Richard Lanning on the top side there. A little bit of a blink here from that 12 of Cardenas. That's not going to help in the battle of Millett trying to get by. So he has got to get by these cars as quick as he can because he is losing a ton of time to Benefield.
Well, we've got to talk about it. We're getting down to that point as Joseph Tucker goes on by Jared Rashawn and Zach Lindgren. Lindgren has a problem into turn 1. He falls back into 5th, now 6th. Benefield into 5th. Here comes Dalton Tucker on Jared Rashawn. We haven't really had a lucky break of the day just yet. Lucky performance, lucky break of the day. Haven't really had one. I think my closest would have to be whatever got the 88 out front. Pitting when he did, maybe that's the lucky break, but we haven't really had one just yet. We had a couple of spins, a big crash out of turn 4. Still waiting for that lucky performance, lucky break of the day to make itself known.
Yeah, I don't think we've truly seen one here yet tonight. I think we've got 50 laps left in this race, so we've got time aplenty to have our lucky break of the day. We'll see if it will present itself here, but this battle up front continues to go well. I think Lindgren starting to fall off again like we saw last time in the last green flag run.
Yeah, led some laps early in this run with Sean Boundy, but is now sinking back. Joseph Tucker has soared back through to second place, but he's got to make up 1.4 seconds up to Daniel Wiles. No real lucky break of the day just yet. We'll talk more about that as the day goes on. But it's about that time, Scott, to nominate drivers for Driver of the Day, brought to you by the North American Racing League.
Yeah, I think right now I'm going to go with Wiles. He's coming off of a win last week at Gateway. He's hot here in the playoffs, and he's running up front right now with a 1.4 second lead with now under 50 laps to go. So I'm going with Daniel Wiles right now.
And I've got to take Joseph Tucker, who runs in second. I just think he's looking really good. Led the end of that first green flag run that we had this evening to the green flag pit stops. And I think he just looks strong.
Have to agree.
So Joseph Tucker a nominee, Daniel Wiles a nominee. At least I thought that was our nominations, or I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
make you think a little bit.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't have to think too much on this one. You can never count on Adam Benefield. Especially with these long runs that we've had, we know he is so strong on that long run. And as we continue to go on here, he's moved himself up to 4th. After the pit stops, he was in 9th, and he's continued to work himself up here, almost under 2/10 back from Dalton Tucker, so about to break onto this podium. If these long runs keep continuing, I think we're going to see Benefield fight with Wiles for this race lead.
I'm going to go with somebody a little bit outside of the box here. Dylan Cardenas, and there's a reason. We haven't seen this kind of speed out of him yet this season, so to see him up front fighting for the race lead at times, fighting inside of the top 3, I'm just impressed by the 12 car, and I think he deserves a nomination for Driver of the Day because this is a really solid, I don't even know the word, really solid
performance.
That works. Really solid performance so far for the 12 car. And I like what I see out of the 12. I think as this race goes on, he might move further forward, get by that Washan machine, might even get by Dalton Tucker, who knows? So watch out for the 12.
I think if his internet stays with us, it might be a possibility for him. I don't know. I feel like we're going to regret leaving out Zach Millett. I don't know. I feel like since we picked everyone else, he's going to come up and find a way to win.
Well, that vote is now live over on YouTube. Daniel Wiles, Joseph Tucker, Adam Benefield, Dylan Cardenas, 4 really good options. Make sure to make your vote. I mean, I personally feel like it's Joseph Tucker. He's running Daniel Wiles down. He is making inroads on that lead. But you've got 4 options. Make your vote. On board with Joseph Tucker as he chases down that Daniel Wiles car. Inside of 8/10, right around 8/10 now off the corner. All it's going to take is Tucker to pit a little bit earlier than Wiles and cycle out maybe that 1 lap sooner. And I think he can get that race lead back away.
Yeah, this next pit stop is going to be key. We're about halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through for some drivers on this set of tires, on this management here. And so I think this last pit stop is going to be key, and it's going to come in the waning laps of this race. It's a time where you cannot make a mistake. The time for that was earlier. If you make one now, your day is done. And the important thing is, obviously, all these drivers want to win. Not everyone can win. You need to have a good point stay, because a lot of these guys up front here, pretty much everyone besides Tucker and Cardenas are fighting in this championship.
That'd be Dalton Tucker, of course, not fighting for the championship. Joseph Tucker is in the fight for the title here in the playoffs for the Simrat Market Series. Let's recap the point standings right on board with Adam Benefield. Let's recap this just a little bit. Zach Millett enters tonight 5 points up on Daniel Wiles. Right now it would flip big time with Wiles out ahead. Benefield would stay about 3rd place. Kevin West would drop a bunch. Sean Boundy and Joseph Tucker might swap spots. Michael Moultrie looking a little bit under the weather as far as performance goes. He's down the order along with Alfie Sharon Jr. and Jeremy Brown. Matthew Taylor's back there. Endon Mendenhall's not here. And Jared O'Shawn has looked strong. Is that about recap the top 12 well enough?
No, I think it was well. I think you've done great, and I think, again, I think you're just going to have to have consistent performance in this playoff if you want to have a shot at that championship. And I think especially with guys like Benefield and Millett in here, because again, we've seen those are the 2 drivers that have been with us all season long. They have dominated the regular season, and obviously, I don't think it's going to be any different in the playoffs. So if you're anyone in that top 12, or I would say about top 8, that wants to go and battle with those 2, you have to be consistent. I think Wiles and Tucker, Joseph Tucker, are doing an excellent job with that.
Lindgren pitting early here. As soon as the window opened up, he came straight to the pit lane. This is very early, only 29 laps complete. I don't know if I want to be this early to the pit lane.
I think it's definitely a little early, but again, we talked about it. Lindgren has fallen off in that number 85. That car over the drive has just gotten looser and looser for him. And so over that pit strategy, it did not work out for him. He's going to have to tighten up that car.
You know what this could do if he's able to run a solid set of good laps? He could cycle out to be ahead of these guys once the cycle is complete. And if he catches a late caution, that could put him out front.
That is definitely a possibility. Although, I don't know. Again, cautions can always happen, but it's one of those things. This series is so clean. They're normally so clean. So I would say that caution is a little bit less inevitable than you would see in a lot of other series. Jared Washan, big time in the wall out of turn 4. We've seen that happen to him a couple times. That's going to allow Cardenas to finally maybe challenge for this spot. Cardenas has been within 0.3 of a second for the past 10, 12 laps or so, and this is going to allow him to finally get around. That's going to move Cardenas up into 3rd. Big move by Washan. We've seen it before. He dives down to the inside. Big run off the corner. He's down towards the bottom. Cardenas on the top. This is the battle for 5th. it's not over yet.
Michael Madden, Matthew Taylor, they hit the pit lane. Joseph Tucker now getting swallowed up by Adam Benefield. This is for second on the racetrack. And this is what I was talking about. You give the 83 long enough on a long run, he's going to drive by you.
That's what I was saying. I definitely agree with you. You saw Joseph Tucker trying hard to get up to Daniel Wiles, and I think he used up his tires trying to do that. Benefield, like I said, very methodical. Zach Millett into the pit lane here. How will the others respond? But like we were saying about Benefield, just slow rolling this pit cycle and was able to do it. He's going to stay out. That 83 is going to stay out another lap.
Alfie Sharon Jr. comes in. Russell Black comes in. Actually, Russell Black stays out. Who did I see? That was Daniel Half. I'm sorry, different Ford Mustang. So he comes in this lap. And let's see, Millett might cycle out ahead of Zach Lindgren. Yes, he does. How did that happen?
Not quite sure.
I mean, honestly, how did that happen?
Very, very interesting.
That has to be just execution on and off the pit lane.
Well, I'm looking at the times here, and Millett was about a second faster in the lane, and I guess that was enough.
Yeah, that's just execution on and off the pit lane, I guess. And here we see Dalton Tucker in the pit lane. Daniel Wiles still on the racetrack. Wiles should be coming in soon, along with Benefield, Tucker, Cardenas, and Washawn. Here comes Benefield. He responds.
And 2 laps later, let's see how this is going to work out. We're going to look at the times in the pit lane and the box very closely here for this 83 because it is going to matter. Time in the lane there on the left, box time on the right. Got to be clean in here. Cannot slide into the box. Clean there. He's right on the marks. Right sides will go up. Will he take 4 or might he take 2? I'm going to imagine he's going to take 4. See if those left sides go. Yes, they do. So 4 tires for the 83 of Benefield. And there he goes. Michael Moultrie coming into his box. So good time there in the box. 14.53. Time in the lane. 37. Oh, slower. It's going to be about 0.6 of a second slower than Millett. Box times were about the same.
And there goes Millett on the outside of the racetrack, right on by the 83 car. I don't know, though. You give that 83 long enough on a long run, I think he's going to drive back by the 31, but something went very right for Zach Millett on that pit stop.
Well, he was faster in the lane. Whatever he did, he was about 0.6 faster there than Adam Benefield, and that's where he gained a good chunk of his time. I think he got a little bit more of it because Benefield stayed out for about 2 laps on those older tires. Millett was able to get 2 laps in on those fresh ones. But again, I think Adam Benefield is inevitable on these long runs.
Here comes Benefield on the inside of Dalton Tucker. Pass being made. Daniel Wiles, Joseph Tucker. Tucker rim riding all the way up the racetrack. Daniel Wiles up a little further ahead. Brian Ruiz nearly got up into Joseph Tucker. That was scary as we work lap 101 now.
I thought they were going to get together. Brian Ruiz coming over the radio apologizing to that 39 machine. He'll go down to the bottom, going a lap down here this run. And look at this, without people pitting, Zach Millett is 1 lap down. So all these people that have come into the lane are 1 lap down, waiting on Wiles, Tucker, Cardenas, Washawn, Bounty, and Black to come into the pit lane.
I don't know about waiting this long. We said it earlier. I think this just puts you behind the 8 ball.
Yep.
You've got to do all your fighting back.
Well, we saw it earlier with Joseph Tucker. It put him back. He charged up back to second, and then he fell off a ton. Benefield went right by. Speaking of Benefield going by, he'll go by here, and look, it's going to be 3 wide. Brian Reese back up in the way. It's almost 3 wide there. Brian Reese goes all the way to the top. And there was a big moment there, but that allowed Benefield to get in front of the 39. Meanwhile, Wiles finally brings it into the pit lane from the lead, and I think, yes, that is Joseph Tucker following him in.
Cardenas stays out with Sean already pitted, so there he goes back out of the pit lane. He's going to be way behind all those cars he was battling. Way behind them. I'm talking seconds on the racetrack. 3 seconds, 4 seconds, I mean, it's going to be a huge gap from him up there.
Yeah, everyone has come in now. The only drivers to stay out at this moment are Cardenas and Black. And here comes Cardenas. He's coming into the lane this time by. Let's see if Russell Black will pit into the lane. So Russell Black, the only driver out there to be not pit yet. Benefield goes fastest with a 33.3. So Benefield starting to move.
And they put seconds on Wiles, seconds on Tucker. Yeah, these guys pitted sooner. They got out there on new tires sooner and ran those good laps. I said it earlier, and then I second-guessed myself, and apparently I was right the first time, because pitting earlier has benefited Benefield and Millet a ton. And it's not even going to take a long run. It's just going to take pit strategy to get them out front.
I think so. They've moved up into the lead relatively. Russell Black not coming into the lane yet. So, yes, Millet and Benefield will inherit that. Dalton Tucker, the next car back 0.3 of a second from Benefield. But I imagine the gap between those two cars will grow as this run goes on, as we wane just over 30 laps left.
And this is going to frustrate Dalton Tucker, Zach Lindgren, Daniel Wiles, Joseph Tucker, Jared Rashawn, Dylan Cardenas, Sean Boundy. It's going to frustrate those guys, and it should. It should really frustrate them, because they had this race in their hands, that whole group of them. The 31 and 83 were sitting back, and they played their cards right. And this is a learning moment.
It should frustrate them, but they played the wrong strategy. Yeah, that at the end of the day, and that's just it. And you can definitely be frustrated with yourself all day long, but that is not going to help you going in the rest of these 4 races we'll have after this. You got to reset and go again. Try something different, because you're going to have to try something different to get up front with Millet and Benefield in these races.
Got to cover up that undercut from the 2 fastest cars in the field. I think that's what it is. We're going to watch Joseph Tucker. He's about 6 seconds back right now of the race lead. I don't see him overcoming that.
No, I don't think so.
Not in 30 laps.
Nope. And I think we know it. Millet and Benefield so good at saving those tires. I think if Joseph Tucker could even get up there, he'd burn his stuff up doing it.
Daniel Wiles, same boat. I mean, he's a second closer. He's 5 seconds back. But it's going to take a huge run here. And you're right. To get up there would be to burn those tires up. Brown comes into the pit lane. He runs dead last right now. But he finally makes his final stop of the race.
Look at this. Adam Benefield running a 10th faster than Millet right now. 0.3 the gap between them.
And this takes all those points gains away from those guys that we were talking about earlier and shifts it the other direction, where Millet has the advantage right now. Benefield has the advantage right now. Wiles is going to finish 5 spots down if things hold. This has turned into disaster mode for all of those playoff drivers that were hoping to upset the 31 and 83.
Yeah, again, just did not play that strategy right. It has worked out here for the 83 and the 31. The question is, can Benefield get around Millet? I believe he can. He's got the time. We know that Benefield is inevitable on those long runs. We've seen these two drivers do battle all season long. We've had these longer runs. We've seen Millet go to victory lane sometimes, but I think more than often we have these long runs, it's Benefield having the benefactor.
Well, I'm going to make a play for Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. It's going to be whatever the heck happened to the 31 on that pit stop cycle. However, he was in and out faster than everybody else. That's my Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. As Adam Benefield looks up on him, Zach might not hang on for the win, but whatever he did there completely changed this race.
Definitely changed the race for him. He's going to have to try to hold off Benefield here. And as we know, Benefield very fast, but again, you're going to have to make this pass. And with this track being so multi-groove, Millet having a problem, Benefield getting loose as well. So the exact time that Millett had an issue, so did Benefiel. So neither getting an advantage on the other right there. But Benefiel is going to have to find a way around this 31, and that is not going to be an easy task.
Time's running out, down about 20 laps to go. Plenty of time, though, to do a little bit of battle. Plenty of time to spar a little bit. Right to the back bumper of the 31, putting some air on that diffuser. And here comes Adam Benefiel to the inside in turns 3 and 4. Almost contact between those two.
Side by side, Millett going to get the advantage on the outside, just has great drive off, but Benefiel is there. You can see it. Millett is loose. That 83 is planted. Benefiel just has that speed. We cross over lap 113, so just over 20 laps left.
Millett bobbles
Oh my
some more.
gosh.
Gets in the wall. Here comes Benefiel on the inside.
Benefiel gonna have a great run down. Millett tries to hit the side draft. Gonna go down to the bottom, try to pinch Benefiel down on that bottom. But Benefiel gonna have a great drive out of the corner, and there you go. Adam Benefiel takes away the race lead.
Am I mistaken, or did Millett come down and hit the 83 a little bit on corner entry there?
If there was contact, it might have been net code, but between them, again, they've raced clean all season long. They really know how each other drives, so I don't think it came down to make contact on purpose.
Something we have to watch. I know we're doubtful right now of the 88 and 39, but they are closing in. They're down to 3.8 seconds back now. So while we've been talking, the 88 has made up a second, and the 39 is not far back, and they're closing in some more. I don't know if they're going to get there. It's a long ways to go in 20 laps. But we got to watch it.
I don't think there's enough time. I just think Benefiel is too good on the long run for these drivers to be able to try to make up this time. Wiles, he's had a great night. He was running up front for quite a while, but I think the thing at the end of the day was pit strategy.
Go back to what I said earlier, I think before you joined me. Daniel Wiles just had the points race today. Keep himself within range of the 31 car. That said, that could put him behind the 31 where he has to get up on the wheel and drive back up to the 31. He has points raced. He has put himself in a good spot at the end. Now he's got to drive his rear end off and get up to the 31 car. He has survived. Now he's got to be up on the wheel and make the most of what he can here. It's playing out about as I foresaw it. I didn't think that was going to happen, honestly. When I said those words earlier, I was doubtful even of it happening. I thought maybe something else would happen along the way. He was in that crash early in this race, but right now it's shaking out exactly that way where he has points raced, he has put himself in a good spot, and now he has to chase the 31.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Over the past 2 laps or so, that gap has barely come down. It's come down by maybe 0.2 or so, but not enough to make up that gap in the time we have left.
You're watching the gap from Daniel Wiles to Dalton Tucker, 2.3 seconds right now, and that seems doable in 17 laps. That is a long ways to go still. And that's only to Tucker, that's not even to Millett. Not even to Benefiel.
Yeah, no, I just don't think there's enough time. I think Wiles has had a great night. I think he's done everything out on track that he has needed to do. I think he stayed out a little bit long on that last call, but I think at the end of the day, it was the pit strategy that's gotten him.
A lot of drivers are going to want this race back. A lot of them. Basically, everybody that around lap 60 or so was ahead of Zach Millett and Adam Benefiel. Every single one of those drivers is going to want this race back.
Yeah, and you know that a lot of that's saying, Wiles not having a bad day. He's probably going to finish 4th here in this race, maybe in 3rd if he can get around Dalton Tucker. Joseph Tucker going to have a good day as well. So is Wishawn and Lindgren, all up in those top 7. But again, Millett and Benefiel are so strong that you have to start finishing in front of them if you want to battle for that championship. There's going to be more time as we've got 4 races left, but you cannot have more races like that.
And you're not wrong. It is a good day to finish up inside the top 10 anytime that you're on the racetrack. But when you have a 20-car field, you've had a few drivers start to skip some races at the back end of the season. How good is it to run 10th? How good is it to run 7th? I mean, if you inflate that to a 40-car field number, that's effectively running about 14th.
Yeah.
So when you put that into perspective, yes, it's still a good day, but how good?
Yep. Fully agree there. I think in terms of this, you're having Wiles obviously have the best day running fourth. You inflate it, probably 8. Tucker doing pretty well as well, would be in the top 10. He's in the top 5 here tonight. But you're right, with Sean, Cardenas, Lindgren, Kevin West, all definitely looking for more.
On board of Dalton Tucker as he chases down Zach Millett. Some lap traffic now playing into things. I see the 16 of Michael Matta there. I see the 44 of Matthew Taylor. I also see the 99 of Alfie Sharon Jr. trying to hang on to the lead lap. Don't look now, but Daniel Wiles is still closing in on these guys.
He is.
It's a long ways to go still, but he's closing in.
A little bit faster than I would have imagined, but I still don't think it's enough time for him to be able to get back to at least all the way to Benefil. I don't know if he can get to Millett. Let's see the gap between them. About 1.4 now between Millett and Wiles if you skip Tucker. So it's possible, but I do not think he'll get to Benefil.
No, I don't think he'll get to the 83 car. I think the 83 is out to lunch unless we get a caution flag, which is entirely possible here. We saw it at Gateway a week ago. Late race caution changed everything.
And if we were to get that, what do you imagine people would do?
Well, you have to come in and get tires, but how many do you get? Do you get 2 and get back out there? I think so.
I don't think so. I think I'd go with no tires. Because here's the thing. What did we see earlier in this race? And obviously we've had track conditions change a little bit. We've seen that sun go away on the racetrack. But we saw for the first like 4 laps or so, tires were pretty equalized.
Well, you would be having to fire off on cold tires, but last night in the BRB Racing League,
okay,
it was a very loose setup, like these guys have had this evening. Very loose race car on a track that was difficult to drive. It was IRP, so a short track, but difficult to drive. Want to run the high line there as well. When drivers took 2 tires, it tightened the balance of the car up. If you take 2 tires here, does that tighten the car up? Does that mean you don't have to fight the wheel?
It might.
And now with 10 laps to go, Daniel Wiles within a half second of Dalton Tucker. I think he can at least get to that 3rd place.
I think now it's looking definitely more like a possibility. I think he can get around Dalton Tucker. The question is now, can he get around Millett as well? Because now the gap between them now just about 7/10.
We've got a number of votes flowing in for the NARL Driver of the Day conversation. So far, it's between the 39 of Joseph Tucker and the 88 of Daniel Wiles. Make sure to place your vote. Time is running out. Daniel Wiles running into the top 3 maybe here. He would be a really good option right now.
He's made it to the back of that 21. Surges down to the bottom here. Going to try to get all that he can. That 21 trying to pinch down the 88. That's going to make the 88 loose. Sideways off the corner, but he's going to have the run off the back straightaway, or excuse me, off the corner down the front straightaway. Diving to the inside here. They'll be side by side on entry. I think down here through the center, 88 will be able to slide up and get that 3rd spot. So Daniel Wiles going to get it here and move up into 3rd.
Ooh.
21 gives him a big shot.
Tucker, I think, realizing may as well just let the 88 go, but give him a shot on the way by. And now...
Hey, that helped him out.
Yeah, it did. It shot him off into turn 3 like a cannon. And now the 88 is on the back end of the 31 car, Zach Millett. But Millett has had all this time to just run quietly, save his stuff. How much better are his tires going to be than Daniel Wiles?
Well, that and how hard is it to pass Millett? I mean, Millett, no easy pass. He is such a great defender. So even if Wiles can get there, I question if he can make the pass.
Running out of time in that Driver of the Day vote will give you until we finish reading through the results. Running out of time, and it's a tie right now between Joseph Tucker and Daniel Wiles. 6 laps to go.
6 to go. Wiles within 0.2 of a second. Trying to change up his line now. You've seen him religiously running the bottom on this stint here. But now he goes back to the bottom in turns 3 and 4. So close to Millet, but the gap remains the same. Slap car might help out Wiles if he can use it right.
See the lap car of Alfie Sharon Jr., teammate to Zach Millet. Alfie will stay out of the way.
This is going to hurt the 31 on exit.
Be close here between these two. They both get clear of the 99. That was 5 laps to go, coming around to 4 this time.
Wiles is there. The gap now within 0.1 of a second. You can see him just rolls the center so well, has good speed on exit. He's going to get to him here. Millet, Millet has the bobble. Side by side, he's on the quarter panel now. Will he send it down into turn 1? They both will. Wiles going to be able to rotate the corner here, but can he make the exit?
Yes, he does. A bobble again out of Millet, and Wiles will take that position away. That's good for second. Now he's got 2.5 seconds up to Adam Benefield. I don't think that's going to happen, but he can certainly try.
This puts him in the fight. Obviously, you saw Wiles have a better day than both of them last week. But here you're seeing Benefield surge out front. But here's the thing. Wiles is in front of him in the points, so that's okay. Now, Millet is in front of the both of them, but he's down in third. This is going to tighten up the battle between these 3 front runners.
3 laps to go the last time by. You're looking at Adam Benefield lead the race. He's coming around to popsicle sticks this time by. An absolutely stellar drive from the 83 tonight.
He's looked so good. You saw he's had a bad qualifying, not what we normally see out of him. He's not the most amazing qualifier, but again, farther back than we would have imagined. Played a good strategy in the beginning, was pretty quiet in the mid-pack, but slowly and surely started to inch forward more and more. Battled with Millet for the race lead about 15 laps ago. Got it and has been driving away ever since.
There's Adam Benefield from Team Conti Sim Performance. Driving off of turn number 4. This time by, he'll see the white flag brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. 1.5 miles to go, and he can start this playoff with a bang. It was a solid race last week, a solid recovery drive from him last week at Gateway. A win here would be huge for the 83.
It'd be so big for him to get that win. I think it would move him very, very close to Millet in this championship fight. Again, those top 3 drivers so close, but that 83 has dominated in the end.
Off of turn number 4, checkered flag in the air. Adam Benefield going to victory lane in Miami.
Great job. Daniel Wiles finishes second, Millet third, and the 2 Tuckers, Dalton and Joseph, 4th and 5th.
Adam Benefield with a big win here this evening. A nod there from Daniel Wiles. He'll go on by. A nod from Zach Millet. That's all that's going to be able to catch up to him before he comes around and does some burnouts here on the front stretch.
What a great job. Deserving donuts. Come burn it down here in front of these fans. And so what a job by the Team Conti 83 of Adam Benefield. Gets the win at Homestead, Miami.
And Benefield is the one driver in the Driver of the Day vote that has no votes. Can you imagine that?
That's crazy. That really is crazy. I mean, look, I think Wiles was definitely deserving as well, but I think Benefield just played it from the beginning.
Now, looking back on it, if I had to pick a driver, I know I nominated Benefield, I nominated Tucker, or no, I nominated Tucker and Cardenas, rather. I would pick Daniel Wiles if I had to pick one, just because of the recovery drive there on late tires, all that. But Adam Benefield to have no votes is very surprising to me. We'll take a look at the unofficial race results when it's all said and done here. Daniel Wiles just short of Adam Benefield, 2.6 seconds at the end. Benefield goes to victory lane with 22 laps led, and they all came in that last run to the end. Zach Millett third, Dalton Tucker fourth, Joseph Tucker fifth. The two Tuckers there netting a top 5. Jared O'Shawn comes up short in the 6th position. Dylan Cardenas in 7th. Zach Lindgren falls back to 8th. Kevin West 9th, and he was just ahead of Sean Boundy.
Back there in 11th, the 64 of Russell Black having a quiet day. Then it was the 29 of Michael Moultrie. Noah Rainwater making his return here in the playoffs. And the 05 comes home 13th. 14th and 15th, Alfie Sharon Jr. and Matthew Taylor. 15th and 16th in Brian Reese and Michael Matta. Then it's Daniel Half, 18th, 19th, and 20th, Richard Lanning and Jeremy Brown.
And that does it for the results. 20 cars showed up this evening. Cody Ellis did not start the race. And that will conclude the NARL Driver of the Day vote. It's going to be a tie between Joseph Tucker. Yeah, a tie between Joseph Tucker and Daniel Wiles. And we couldn't break the tie. That's just going to be what it is.
There we go.
So Joseph Tucker, Daniel Wiles will share NARL Driver of the Day honors. And I'm going to break the fourth wall for a second. If you have negativity, we don't need it here in the YouTube chat. So unfortunate that maybe you don't feel too good about the way this race went, but let's have some more positivity out in the YouTube chat. Let's bring in race winner Adam Benefield this evening with a solid performance. 22 laps led at the end, and it sounds like you were talking about some shifting there, but shifting gears to the front of the field from 15th this evening is you. How did you manage to drive through the field?
Apparently, I was the only one not shifting. I don't really know. This place is one of my favorite tracks to race at. Just kind of fits my driving style. I botched qualifying on my money lap, so put us in the back, and I've been in the middle of the process of moving, so literally my first laps wasn't until tonight, so I didn't get to practice like Daniel and Zach and everybody else. So I didn't really practice much in warm-up either. One thing that I like to make sure I hit my marks on is the masters at this place, the master cylinders. If you can get the master cylinders right, you can really roll the corner with a lot of speed without having to slow down a lot. I don't know, that probably doesn't make sense, but with the way that I seen that what time we were starting and how I was going to finish, the car was going to get tighter the longer you ran into the night. Grip speed was going to be higher, so I went with something that was going to make me feel more free starting out, and then once it started cooling off and the track temp came down, like we started at freaking 111 I think, or 107, and it's down to 89. So I just tried to use the tools that I had available to suit the car on the back end of the race, and it worked out.
And last week at Gateway, you had some struggles, recovered decently, but this is a big, resounding clap back to go out there and get the race win and fight your way maybe to the top of the point standings after this. We'll see. How do you feel for the rest of the playoffs with this race win under your belt on an intermediate? And I said it earlier, this felt like an Adam Benefield kind of racetrack. These intermediates seem to be within your wheelhouse. How do you feel going to a couple more like that?
The intermediates are great. Last week, I hate that place. I don't even think that place will make a good bass pond, really. I think it would just be a good waste pond. That track shouldn't be on a NASCAR schedule. I think it's a waste of space. Let IndyCar run there or something. I absolutely despise that place. So it is what it is for that. But yeah, I mean, intermediates are kind of my strong suit. Next week, numbers are not in my favor for next week, especially with it being Talladega. So I'm a one-man show versus guys that's got teammates. So, you know, I'm glad we got the win tonight. But and then we got, what is it? I call it Sears Point. What is the name of that place? What do they call it on here? Sonoma. Yeah, the only time I ever have really turned right is when I'm on a dirt track. So we'll try to survive that and get what we can get. But you know, rest of the season, I kind of like where we're at. We got a chance. Just got to get through the next. Just got to get through the next 2 weeks and try to set ourselves up to where we can be in it for the last, for Kansas and Hollywood.
Well, it's good to talk to you. 22 laps led in the race win after starting 15th. It's a big day for you. Congratulations, and hopefully we're talking to you soon.
Thank you. And thanks to Team Conti Sim Performance. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Dalton and Brandon for all they do for this league. And a shout out to Zach Millett's Twitch because I was indecisive on a pitch strategy, and I tuned into his Twitch, and him and his chat and his team are the ones that made me go with this pitch strategy. So shout out to them. Never know, might just turn on a different stream during the race. You never know what people will hear. So learned that in the Coke Series. So yeah, shout out to them.
Wow, that's a big one there. Well, Adam Benefield getting some inspiration on his pit strategy. That's pretty cool. Well, congratulations, and again, hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you,
Scott. That's a huge point. I don't know if that breaks the bro code or what that is, but I never thought I would hear that from a driver. I never thought a driver would admit they tuned into another driver's stream to get info on what to do for a pit strategy. But I mean, competition like this is ruthless.
Look, this is the battle for a championship, and if Millett's going to have that going, I mean that's public source information.
Yeah, that's incredible. That is huge. Daniel Wiles, though, second place. You'll be talking to him.
Yeah, Daniel Wiles finishing in second place, was looking for just a little bit more. And Daniel, let's talk about this pit strategy, because I think that was the biggest thing that played a factor in tonight's race. Obviously, you had a very fast Ford Mustang in that number 88. And so talk to me about that pit strategy. Did you think that at the end of the day was the thing that put you behind Benefield?
Yeah, going back, and I probably should have just went in with them. I was hoping that the fall off was going to be enough. And I tried to run out my tank as far as I could. I still had 4 laps left, but I was like, I need to go ahead and pit. And I was hoping I'd have the better tires to run them guys down, and it just wasn't enough for him, which, I mean, he's always good at saving his stuff. So, I mean, I'm glad to come out with a second with the strategy, but I just almost feel like I kind of threw one away a little bit, having the lead right before the pit cycle.
Yeah, talk to me about that last pit cycle. You stayed out there a little bit longer. Looking back now, would you come in sooner?
Yeah, I would have came in with them.
Yeah.
That way I was at least, I had the opportunity to just stay with them. Like I said, I think I just lost too much time. I couldn't gain it back, and then by the time I got into second place, my stuff was burned up. And I had nothing left. I was on skates.
So obviously you got the win last week. That has put you in a great points position, 5 back from Millett. You finish in front of Millett here in this race. What do you have to do to battle with these two to possibly win this championship? Because me and Andrew have been talking about it. Everybody knows Benefield and Millett have dominated the regular season. You have always been in the waning. You have been a top 5 driver most of the season, and you're one to fight with them right now. The only driver that is truly bringing the fight to them. What do you have to do to get ahead of them in this championship fight?
Stop making those mistakes from earlier in this race. Yeah, I mean, we go to Dega. Dega, just like in real life, it's going to be a wild card. I mean, next week is literally going to be about survival, walking out with at least a top 10. But I mean, I just got to be consistent and not make mistakes. These guys are going to keep me on my toes. They really are, especially with like pit stops and all that and the strategy. They really are.
Yeah, well, I know you wanted a little bit more tonight, and I know that you wanted the win. It was definitely within reach, but hold your head high. Second is definitely good, and I think we've got some more great things to come from you, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
So we appreciate you talking to us, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
Daniel Wiles comes home second, looked for a little bit more, but can hold his head high and a good finish, and a finish above Zach Millett, who Andrew will be talking with next.
And usually when we're talking to Zach Millett, it's because he went first. This time, though, third place this evening. Zach, what happened? Why are you third place and not first or second?
Oh, Andrew, it's totally my error tonight. I feel awful, not only for my own race, but I cost my teammates a good finish too. We got to that first caution there, and I don't know if I was thinking there was going to be more cautions or just miscounted the tires over the wall, and I thought we had one less. So I was really thinking, we'd have an extra set at the end. And we didn't really burn our stuff up too much, and it was totally my fault. I hate it for us.
So when you say you miscounted, I mean, like, explain that a little bit further and explain the thought process behind staying out on, well, not staying out, you came in for fuel, but staying on those old tires early in the race.
Well, in a perfect world, every time you come in to take a tank of gas, I want a set of tires. And in a perfect world, if you can have, one set over the wall at the end, I mean, at a place like this where 5 laps newer tires is that much different, that's kind of what I was aiming for. And we ended up having, one too many after we didn't take it. So if we took that set of tires that first stop, I think we'd be, I don't know, I guess we'll never know, but I felt like we'd be way further up there.
And this maybe puts you slightly behind the 8 ball, maybe even with Daniel Wiles after tonight. I'm not sure how the points are going to work out, but it's going to be close. What do you have to do next week at Talladega to try and fire back?
Well, the points I think were a little messed up. I don't know if we got a chance to update them fully. There should be another 50 points in there for the regular season championship. So I might have a little bit of a buffer, but I mean, it's shrinking, man. It's shrinking quick. I got to get my stuff together. I don't know what you do to practice at Talladega. I guess just hope for the best and expect the worst and try to make as many friends as I can before next Wednesday.
There you go, Zach Millett. Closing things out here. A bit of a respect bump there in the pit lane to Daniel Wiles when it's all said and done. Solid drive out front, and hopefully we're talking again soon.
I hope so, man. Andrew, I got to thank you at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Sim Cams as always, IMB, Racewear, Team Connie Sim Performance, Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, Trackbar Media, RS Button Box, Apex Sim Racing, and all the viewers in the Twitch tonight. Big thanks.
You know what? That actually gives me one more question to ask you. I don't know if Adam told you, but he said he said thank you. There we go. He said thank you to your Twitch chat and your Twitch stream because he kind of piggybacked off of your pit strategy. What do you think of that?
Oh man, you got to give him credit. He's smart. He's a smart man. Yeah, I've got some really awesome guys that jump in the chat on my Twitch every week, man. They're diehards. Timmy over there, EMR Paintball. That's what's on the car. Big shout out to him. He's always coming in. And there was one point in the race, Andrew, where I was talking to the chat. I was like, I got to really figure out what Adam's doing here. He's trying to match his entry. And Adam answered me in the driver's chat. So I was like, oh man, I messed up again.
Well, good to hear from you, and I'm glad it's a kind of good sports situation there. Again, congrats on third place. Hopefully we're talking to you soon.
I hope so, man. Thank you.
Zach Millett there at the end of this one, and I'm glad, some guys might not be as privy to be happy about, and happy sounding anyways, about a driver listening into their Twitch chat. So, hey, I'm glad it's all fine and dandy between those two. That adds another layer to the onion here.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. I mean, Millett, very good in performance, and just tonight wasn't quite his night. Couldn't quite get it.
Want to thank all the partners with the SimRat Market Series, of course, simratmarket.com, Apex Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, Moza Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Track Bar Media, The Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, and Cyber Edge Hosting, all playing a part and helping us get to and from the virtual racetrack each and every week. A big thank you to those at Pit Stop TV that help us out. Whiplash Sim Cams, ATVOs, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, and Lucky Performance, and now the North American Racing League as well. Scott, it was good to have you back this week after a week off at Gateway. Final thoughts here from Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was so great, especially midway through the race. Those top 7 were all on top of each other, and I thought it was excellent racing. Obviously, we saw Benefil have the advantage in the end. Long run green flags runs come, and he is inevitable. We're going to Talladega next week for a wild one.
Yeah, Talladega is going to be a whole lot of fun next week. We've had a lot of drafting racing going on lately with Daytona and now Atlanta this week in the NASCAR Cup Series. And, man, it's going to be a whole lot of fun to go to Talladega next week and continue that drafting kind of conversation for a long race as well. 250 miles there, 94 laps. Going to be a long one for us, but should be a lot of fun next week for race 15. That does it for us this evening from Homestead Miami Speedway. Here's a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. Tomorrow night, we go to a mystery track. We don't know where we're going just yet. We'll find out when we get there for the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. Sim Auto Racing Association has the top Super Late Model drivers on the iRacing.com sim. Go at it week in and week out, and their season is coming to a close. 2 races to go, and Cole Cabrey looks to clinch the championship by starting tomorrow night. You got to tune in to find out exactly what happens, though. And then Tuesday, we head out to Michigan International Speedway with the BRB Racing League Butt Kicker Cup Series. And, boy, the final race of the regular season. That's their cutoff race at Michigan. Going to be a lot of fun. Again, you got to tune in to find out exactly what happens. You've got to tune into these broadcasts and see who ends up doing what and who makes the chase in the BRB Racing League next week at Michigan. And then you see Talladega coming up next up for us, Scott. It's going to be fun on February 26th.
It is going to be great. I'm excited to see it. You can catch all the action, updates, and everything upcoming here at Pit Stop on our website, pitstoptv.com. All of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and X. You'll catch all the updates on what is going on next.
And that'll do it for us this evening from Homestead Miami Speedway. Thanks so much for tuning in. Scott, thanks for being here. We'll catch you all next time at Pit Stop TV on the far side, hopefully for the Sim Market Series, Sim Auto Racing Association tomorrow night from a mystery track. Hopefully we'll see you then.